When reality television first introduced America to the Plath family, viewers believed they were stepping into a world frozen in time. A deeply conservative, rural household. No mainstream media. No sugar. No pop culture. No smartphones. A family living almost completely disconnected from modern American life. But years later, what started as a quiet portrait of faith, family values, and country living has transformed into one of television's most emotionally complicated family dramas. And now, with the explosive new chapter titled Kick Mud, Kiss My Grits, fans are once again watching tensions rise, relationships fracture, and personal identities collide in ways that feel far bigger than reality TV. Because this is no longer just a story about a family living differently. This is now a story about freedom, control, rebellion, healing, public judgment, and the emotional cost of growing up under the eyes of millions of Americans. Tonight, we're diving deep into everything happening inside the world of Welcome to Plathville, the conflicts, the emotional fallout, the hidden layers beneath the arguments, and why Kick Mud, Kiss My Grits may represent one of the most revealing moments in the show's history. And as we break this entire situation down, one question continues to follow this family everywhere they go. Can the Plaths actually move forward, or are they trapped in a cycle they may never fully escape? Because what viewers witnessed wasn't just another family disagreement. It felt personal, raw, uncomfortable, and for many fans watching at home, painfully relatable. The episode title itself, Kick Mud, Kiss My Grits, immediately set the tone. Defiant, Southern, emotional, a phrase loaded with frustration and attitude. And longtime viewers instantly understood that this wasn't going to be a peaceful hour of family bonding. The title sounded like a warning, almost a declaration of emotional exhaustion from people who feel misunderstood, cornered, or simply done trying to please everyone around them. That tension has been building for years. To understand why this moment matters so much, you have to go back to the beginning of Welcome to Plathville itself. When the series premiered on TLC, audiences were introduced to parents Kim Plath and Plath, who raised their large family on a rural farm with extremely strict values and limited exposure to outside culture. The family lifestyle immediately drew comparisons to other conservative reality television families, but viewers quickly realized there was something uniquely intense about the Plaths' world. Their children had limited access to technology, restricted social exposure, minimal understanding of mainstream entertainment. Even everyday aspects of American youth culture reportedly remained heavily controlled. To some viewers, it looked admirable, a family protecting traditional values in a chaotic world. To others, it appeared isolating and emotionally restrictive. But the real turning point came when the older Plath children began stepping outside the boundaries of the life they had been raised in. And that's where everything started changing. The emotional center of the show gradually shifted away from rural simplicity and toward generational conflict. Suddenly, audiences weren't just watching homeschooling and farm chores anymore. They were watching adult children trying to figure out who they really were after spending years inside an intensely controlled environment. That transformation became especially visible through Ethan Plath and Olivia Plath. Their relationship became one of the most discussed storylines in the series because it represented two entirely different visions of life colliding head-on. Olivia, who came from a similarly conservative background but eventually distanced herself from it, often encouraged emotional openness, independence, and exploration of the outside world. Ethan, meanwhile, frequently appeared caught between loyalty to his upbringing and curiosity about a completely different life. That tension wasn't just about marriage. It was about identity. And over time, millions of viewers became emotionally invested in whether these people could truly heal from the emotional weight of their upbringing. Because underneath the family arguments and reality TV editing, audiences recognized something deeply human happening on screen. Children growing into adults, while still carrying emotional roles created for them years earlier. That's why episodes like Kick Mud, Kiss My Grits resonate so strongly. They aren't just entertainment. They tap into larger conversations happening across America right now. Conversations about toxic family dynamics, religious pressure, emotional boundaries, generational trauma, independence, forgiveness, and the complicated process of redefining yourself after leaving behind the environment that shaped you. What makes the Plath family story especially compelling is that there are no easy villains. Some viewers strongly criticize the parenting style of Kim and Barry. Others defend them as parents who genuinely believed they were protecting their children. Some believe the older children are unfairly rebellious. Others see them as emotionally stunted adults trying to catch up on years of missed personal growth. And because reality television captures only fragments of real life, audiences constantly debate what's authentic, what's edited, and what may be happening off camera. That ambiguity fuels enormous discussion online. And with Kick Mud, Kiss My Grits, social media reactions exploded almost immediately after the episode aired. Fans across platforms dissected every interaction, every awkward silence, every emotional reaction, and every facial expression. Some viewers focused on unresolved resentment between family members. Others pointed to signs of emotional fatigue. Many discussed whether certain relationships appear permanently damaged. But perhaps the biggest reaction centered around how emotionally drained several cast members now seem compared to earlier seasons. That observation has followed the show for years. One of the most significant developments in recent seasons has been the separation and divorce storyline involving Kim and Barry Plath. For viewers who spent years watching the couple present a united front rooted in conservative family values, the breakdown of their marriage stunned many longtime fans. The emotional irony wasn't lost on audiences. The parents who once enforced strict rules about morality, relationships, and obedience were now navigating their own public marital collapse. That shift changed the emotional atmosphere of the entire series. It also forced the younger Plath children into a completely different reality than the one they were raised to expect. And that's where Kick Mud, Kiss My Grits feels especially important. Because the episode doesn't exist in isolation. It exists within years of unresolved emotional conflict. Viewers are now watching family members who seem simultaneously desperate for connection and deeply wounded by past experiences. That emotional contradiction appears everywhere in the series now. One moment someone wants reconciliation. The next moment they pull away emotionally. One conversation appears hopeful. The next becomes tense or defensive. And for audiences watching at home, that unpredictability creates powerful emotional engagement because it mirrors real family dynamics many Americans experience privately, especially in families navigating major ideological or generational divides. The emotional authenticity, whether viewers agree with everyone involved or not, is part of what keeps the audience invested. Reality television succeeds when audiences feel emotionally attached to outcomes. And Welcome to Plathville has mastered that emotional tension. The series constantly leaves viewers asking difficult questions. Can damaged relationships truly heal? Can parents admit mistakes without feeling attacked? Can adult children establish independence without completely destroying family bonds? Can deeply religious or conservative families adapt when younger generations want different lives? And perhaps most importantly, can people raised inside rigid systems ever fully figure out who they are once those systems begin collapsing? Those questions feel even heavier because the Plath children are navigating them publicly. Every emotional confrontation becomes content. Every uncomfortable conversation becomes online debate. Every personal transformation becomes a storyline consumed by millions. That pressure matters. Because reality TV fame changes people. And it changes families. The Plaths are no longer just a rural family from Georgia living privately according to their beliefs. They are now public figures whose emotional struggles generate headlines, clips, reaction videos, TikTok debates, Reddit discussions, and constant audience analysis. That level of exposure can intensify already fragile relationships, especially when viewers choose sides. And viewers absolutely have chosen sides. Some fans strongly support Olivia, and believe she recognized unhealthy family dynamics early. Others argue she contributed to family division. Some believe Ethan remains emotionally torn between competing worlds. Others think he struggles to communicate effectively under pressure. Some sympathize with Kim's attempts to evolve and reconnect with her children. Others remain deeply critical of her past parenting choices. The audience fragmentation itself has become part of the phenomenon surrounding the show, and TLC understands that emotional investment drives engagement. Reality television today isn't just about what airs on television anymore. It's about what happens afterward online. That's where Kick Mud, Kiss My Grits truly exploded. Clips circulated rapidly across social platforms. Fans debated who appeared sincere. Others discussed emotional manipulation. Some viewers expressed sadness watching relationships deteriorate further. Others felt vindicated seeing long-building tensions finally surface openly. The emotional polarization surrounding the episode demonstrates how deeply connected viewers feel to this family's journey. But there's another layer here that often gets overlooked: the cultural symbolism of the Plath family. For many Americans, the series reflects a larger national conversation happening right now between traditionalism and modern identity, between authority and independence, between preserving values and allowing personal freedom, between obedience and emotional self-discovery. That broader cultural tension is one reason the show generates such passionate reactions. People aren't only watching the Plaths. They're projecting their own experiences onto them. Some viewers see their own strict upbringing. Others see parents they struggled with. Others relate to feeling emotionally trapped by expectations. Others sympathize with the fear parents feel when children reject the lifestyle they worked hard to create. That emotional relatability gives the show unusual staying power. And in Kick Mud, Kiss My Grits, those themes reach another emotional breaking point. What stands out most in recent seasons is how exhaustion has replaced certainty. Earlier seasons often featured ideological confidence. Family members strongly believed in their positions. But now, many interactions feel emotionally worn down. Conversations carry tension beneath the surface. Smiles sometimes look forced. Attempts at reconciliation appear fragile. That emotional fatigue may be the most revealing part of the entire series. Because unresolved conflict eventually changes people. And audiences are now watching years of emotional strain take visible tolls on relationships. There's also the complicated issue of public identity. Reality TV participants eventually become aware of how audiences perceive them. That awareness can create enormous emotional pressure. People begin defending themselves not just to family members, but to millions of strangers online. That dynamic matters because it can make genuine healing even harder. When every conflict becomes public discourse, vulnerability becomes risky. And yet vulnerability remains central to why audiences continue watching. Charged moments. Perhaps no figure in the series has undergone a more dramatic public transformation. Once presented as the highly controlled matriarch enforcing strict household rules, Kim later appeared navigating marital separation, personal reinvention, and changing relationships with her children. For some viewers, that evolution humanized her. For others, it raised difficult questions about consistency, accountability, and the emotional consequences her earlier parenting style may have created. Again, audiences remain deeply divided, but that division keeps the show culturally relevant. Because reality television thrives when viewers feel emotionally compelled to interpret motivations. And Kick Mud, Kiss My Grits intensified those interpretations dramatically. Another reason the episode resonated involves tone. The title sounds humorous on the surface, almost playful Southern sarcasm. But beneath that humor sits frustration, resentment, and emotional defiance. That combination reflects the emotional atmosphere surrounding the Plath family today. People trying to laugh through tension. Trying to maintain connection while carrying unresolved hurt. Trying to preserve identity while adapting to change. That emotional complexity is what separates Welcome to Plathville from simpler reality programming. This isn't just staged drama between strangers. This is family. And family conflict always hits differently for audiences, especially when viewers sense genuine emotional stakes. The show also raises broader questions about reality television ethics. How much emotional vulnerability should become entertainment? At what point does documenting family pain become exploitative? Do reality shows help participants process conflict or worsen it? Those questions have followed many major reality franchises for years, but they feel especially relevant here because the Plaths began the series as relatively isolated people suddenly thrust into national exposure. That transition alone can fundamentally alter relationships. Fame changes power dynamics. Public support changes confidence. Criticism changes self-perception. And editing shapes narratives audiences may interpret as complete truth, even when only fragments are shown. That's why many viewers approach newer episodes with increasing emotional caution. Because while the drama remains compelling, there's also visible sadness underneath it now. A sense that some relationships may never fully recover. And audiences can feel that weight. Social media reactions after Kick Mud, Kiss My Grits reflected exactly that emotional conflict. Some viewers expressed frustration with recurring family dysfunction. Others said the episode felt painfully authentic. Many described feeling emotionally drained after watching certain interactions unfold. That reaction speaks to the unusual emotional realism the series sometimes captures. Not realism in the sense that everything is perfectly objective. Reality TV never is. But realism in the sense that unresolved family tension often behaves exactly like this. Messy. Cyclical. Emotional. Contradictory. One step forward. Two steps backward. Moments of hope followed by emotional shutdowns. And because so many American families quietly navigate similar dynamics behind closed doors, audiences continue connecting deeply with the Plath story. There's also growing discussion about the younger Plath siblings and how these public conflicts may shape their futures. Children raised inside intense family systems often process change differently depending on age, personality, and exposure to outside environments. As older siblings leave home and publicly challenge aspects of their upbringing, younger siblings may experience confusion, pressure, or shifting perspectives of their own. Viewers increasingly speculate about how the next generation of Plath children will define themselves moving forward. Will they embrace the values they were raised with? Will they pursue dramatically different lives? Will family divisions deepen or eventually soften with time? Those unanswered questions keep long-term viewers emotionally invested. And from a television standpoint, uncertainty drives retention. People keep watching because they want emotional resolution. But ironically, emotional resolution may be exactly what this family struggles to achieve. That's what makes Kick Mud, Kiss My Grits feel emotionally significant. It doesn't present easy answers. Instead, it exposes how complicated healing can become once years of resentment, misunderstanding, and public scrutiny enter the equation. There's also the financial and professional dimension surrounding the series itself. Reality television fame creates opportunities. Public visibility leads to sponsorships, social media followings, interviews, and business ventures. Several cast members have built significant online audiences beyond the show itself. But fame can also create incentives to maintain public conflict. And audiences often wonder where authentic emotional pain ends and television storytelling begins. That uncertainty fuels endless online analysis. Fans examine body language, social media posts, interview wording, unfollow rumors, relationship clues, emotional tone shifts. The Plath family has effectively become an ongoing public emotional puzzle that viewers continuously try to solve, and TLC benefits enormously from that engagement. Still, beyond ratings and headlines, there's a deeper emotional truth many viewers recognize. This family appears genuinely changed by everything they've experienced. The innocence of early seasons is gone. In its place is something heavier, more emotionally aware, more fractured, more uncertain, and perhaps more human. That transformation may ultimately explain why Kick Mud, Kiss My Grits sparked such strong reactions. Because viewers weren't just watching our